Welcome to the Program Pod, a national award-winning program on the RCBC Podcast Network, which takes a deep dive into the programs offered at RCBC through different perspectives of students, faculty, and employers. Sometimes things that go down behind the scenes, but we are here at the Program Pod. Jay Varga with you again for another episode of the Program Pod's Commencement Series coverage for 2024 Spring Commencement. Gearing up. It is that time of year. It's May, but depending on when you're listening to this program, Commencement probably already happened, but something we started last year, getting to speak with the President Award winners and then the students after they graduate and, get to share their experiences, because that's what it's all about, going to school and then eventually graduating, moving on, and trying to start your career, but continues, rolls on the episodes. But now we have Aislynn Fait. Aislynn, how you doing again?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me today. It's great to be here.
Yes. So, bringing you on here because you're going to be speaking in front of what commencement this time?
The liberal arts ceremony.
Liberal arts, which, are you ready for it? Are you ready to speak in front of all your classmates?
I am definitely very nervous, and it still hasn't really set in that it's like really going to happen, but I'm also very excited to be able to speak to everyone. So.
And have you spoken in front of a crowd this size or of a big size before?
Well, I actually had a similar experience with public speaking when I attended Camp 2030 last year. That was in front of a few hundred people. And commencement, I'm sure, is going to be much larger, but it is still...
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. It's going to be really, really interesting too. Did
the Camp 2030 have like the big PA system and such too? Were you really speaking out to the crowd and hearing your voice echoing throughout?
I did not have that experience. I had a small microphone.
Okay.
My team and I, we shuffled out onto the stage. There's like an auditorium. There's hundreds.
She's doing little hand symbols too, like a little shuffling mode for the people that can't see.
Scuttled down on the stage and gave her a little pitch. It was a lot of pressure, but we ended up placing first overall in the entire program. It was a really, really interesting experience. Yeah, I remember reading about the story because Eli, who was our intern, also was part of your team and such. Congratulations too. Number one. And how many contestants are there, or groups or people? I'm not sure the exact amount of teams that were taking place, but I believe there were over 150 people at camp that year, and my team was a team of 5 women from around the world. It was like really incredible to be able to meet them and work with them on the project. So yeah, and be number one. Yeah. Yeah. The most important part. I mean, to doing what you're doing. And what was it that you were doing at Camp 2030? So it's a global solution summit to focus on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And they bring together people, young people from all around the world who are interested in change making and creating change and impact in the world. And I was able to attend as a delegate from RCBC. We spent a week in upstate New York, and we worked together in our teams to solve major world issues. So our team is focused on responsible production and consumption, and we created a solution that tried to focus on removing food waste from landfills and putting it towards bioplastic facilities so it could reduce plastic use, reduce greenhouse gases from landfills, and, create less waste. That's awesome. I mean, I'm one for the environment there, and my wife actually kind of sometimes gets mad of how crazy I am with recycling and such too. She's like, really trying to recycle that? I'm like, yes, trying to leave that carbon footprint. I'm going to raise my daughter that way too. So again, congratulations with that. And you got a little teaser of speaking in front of a big crowd, but now it's going to be a bigger crowd coming up for the 15th in liberal arts, which liberal arts crowd is always amazing. Them, health sciences, nothing against STEM. STEM's always, they're just so like focused, Yes. I could never do STEM. Like, I am so bad at math. There's a lot more options than, just math, but I got you. There's so much math though. Yeah, there is. I'm awful at it, but yeah, but so I have great admiration for all of the graduates because they are like such incredible. Yeah, and it's super smart and like I said, dedicated, but they're always focused. I'm trying to ramp them up at commencement sometimes, and as soon as the graduation's over, then they let loose, right? But it's like liberal arts sometimes is a big party, and health science is way big party. They're just kind of like a funky bunch itself. So I'm excited for that. But so you're going to be speaking in front of the crowd. But what made you want to go apply for the President's award winner to you can do the speech? But also congratulations for winning one of the President's Award winner spots. Right. So I definitely wanted to apply because I feel that I've had such an incredible experience at RCBC, and I wanted to be able to share that with the graduates. I think that all of the things that I've been able to accomplish has been because I've been at RCBC, and I want to kind of dedicate the experiences I've had, like using this speech and share that amazing experience, and like thank the school for everything that they've done for me. And I think by being able to speak to the graduates, I'll be able to achieve that.
Yeah, and I think you're speaking to your classmates too. You never know who you're going to connect with as well, or it's going to be somebody out there in the crowd. And I'm kind of getting chills talking about it because that's how passionate I am about it. And you know, I'm so proud of you that out there in the crowd. Because I was just talking, earlier with one of the other President's Award winners, Cioce. It's just she was taken back by a previous President's Award winner's speech, and it inspired her to do something. So maybe you can be inspiring somebody out there in the crowd too. This is kind of like stepping up. Maybe they weren't even thinking about going to school, and then they hear your story, which I'm going to ask you about in a second. But you know what I mean? Like, you're about to connect with a lot of people, and you're about to do some really good on, are already doing good with Camp 2030. Now we're doing even more good here. But
Right.
But that story you say in your speeches, I got to hear you practice it through, is very unique. It's very interesting. Can you share that with us? Like how you got here to RCBC and kind of like, what made you and even getting here?
Right. So I was homeschooled until I began at RCBC at age 17. And unfortunately, I did not have a solid education in my homeschooling. And that led me to start at RCBC with a little bit of a disadvantage compared to those around me. Mm-hmm. I definitely struggled with my mental health and my education before I started at RCBC because I felt like I couldn't accomplish anything. And as soon as I did start at RCBC, I realized how much I can accomplish when I have the chance to, and when I allow myself to take those chances. So I got into working as a student worker here. I was able to excel in my academics. I realized how much I love learning new things. Mm-hmm. Maybe not math, but I do love learning. Yeah. I do love just like being able to help others, and I was able to do that through the work I do with experiential learning. Experiential learning.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Well, it's always seen you were on campus, and I was saying this off mic before we get to sit down. It was just like, it was nice to finally meet you because I saw your vibrant personality always across, and I would never gotten that. You were kind of not homeschooled, but just kind of like not around others and like the social stuff because you have like this aura around you and stuff. But it's great to see you get here, and I guess RCBC made it pretty easy for you to kind of like transition out of that type of experience that you had growing up into this educational setting you got going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met like incredible people here, all of the staff, the faculty, the friends that I've made, the classmates and peers that I have at the school. They're just incredible people, and I always try to be like them and embody the kindness and the grace that they have. So.
Do you have a particular professor that has stood out to you in your experience?
Oh my God, so many.
Yeah.
My first professor for the first class I ever had, mm-hmm. Professor Rowley with history. I was able to take his class a few times. Professor Gazzara, I was able to take his class.
Chris is amazing.
I know. Yeah, he's an amazing professor.
Yep.
Professor Abdul-Jabbar, amazing professor. And I remember my math professors as well.
Math, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Right on. So what is actually your major, and why did you choose that particular study?
So I am a liberal arts and science major. I chose that because I felt that I did not have a very good grasp on the basics, and I didn't really have a solid foundation on like overall what I needed for my education. And I decided to take that major because I felt that it provided like a good overview of everything that I needed. I'm very interested in fashion, and
Sure.
I would be a fashion major.
I could see that right now. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm looking into fashion in my future, but I can't make it to the fashion campus. It's 45 minutes from my house. So
yeah, it's tough, and it's not something you can kind of like do in distance learning as well. It's like you got to be in there, cutting everything up, as again Cioce was kind of telling us about and stuff. But I could totally see you in fashion. Like I said, the vibrancy that you pull off every day. You're always rocking something different, and it's impressive. I love it. So what do you think you're gonna miss most about this place?
Oh my God, like everything.
Good answer.
I loved being on campus. It's, for one, like, it's beautiful. The weather is so nice right now.
Yeah.
Like, just being outside on campus all day, the people at campus, it's always so lively and vibrant. Having the opportunity to learn so many different things. I was able to take Mandarin classes. I'm taking ASL right now, women's literature, astronomy. I've been able to learn so many interesting things that I hadn't had access to learning before. And I also absolutely adore my work with like the career preparation office right now. I worked at the food pantry for quite a while before that as well. Having the opportunity to help people around me is also just like an incredible experience. And I'm definitely going to continue doing that as I move forward in my career. But at RCBC, I feel like I've been able to make such an impact, and I'm definitely going to miss being able to continue doing that.
Couple of things to unpack from that answer right there. Obviously, the food pantry, a lot of people actually know about. It's a great thing that we do here at the school, and I think it's doesn't get enough praise for it because there is times that people struggle, especially now where the economy is just kind of like still crazy, right? And people can be struggling with some funds or whatever, but we offer like the everything from like pasta to cereal to even like hygienic stuff or whatever, and people don't really necessarily know about it. But we do have the food pantry. It's right behind Voda Hall. Anyone can have access to it, employers, students, whatever, you need help and stuff, and there's no shame in it either. It's just you get up there. I go and get some stuff sometimes. They have an abundance of it, especially like that black toothpaste I'm really hooked on right now. It's the I forget what it's called.
Charcoal, right?
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it kind of looks funky when you're brushing your teeth, right? but still, it's a great thing with that. But also to unpack, so you say math is hard, but here you are learning Mandarin. Right.
I love learning languages,
Okay.
and I decided that for the first language I'm going to learn, I was going to learn a really, really hard one.
Yeah.
So that all the other ones were so much easier. And I think I underestimated how hard Mandarin is, but it was still a really, really fun class to take.
Yeah.
And so difficult.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can only imagine because I took French in high school thinking I'd be a little different, trying to learn the language of love, and then I was like, oh my God, this class is very difficult, and I did kind of struggle to get by when I probably should have just taken Spanish because it's more for me, especially because I was playing soccer at the time and I had a lot of Spanish-speaking players, and I could have had a little bit more of an upper hand because if you're speaking in a different language, then the other team might not know exactly what you're saying or how you're trying to communicate on the field. But of course, it's just kind of out there. But French is still, I think, way down, and then Mandarin's like way up here. All right, so you're obviously those are some of the memories, and you're going to take with you. So where is your next steps? Like, where are you headed now?
So I'm going to work for a little bit, and then I'm going to continue and get my bachelor's. I'm going to do some research on what is best for me. I'm looking into a few different schools right now and their fashion programs and seeing what my options are for that. I want to go into fashion marketing, so I'm hoping next year to start my next degree. Okay.
Well, I want to get you ready for the real world, so we're going to get out of these kind of like these bio questions and who is Aislynn. So we are now going to get you for these tough, demanding questions.
All right.
And because I heard you talking about the speech, and you were going to maybe try to work in a song quote you were saying. I'm a big music person, as I told you off the mic. Huge concert person. I've probably seen over 1,500 concerts in my life and travel around the world and go and see bands and such. So music is a big passion for me. So I always like to ask people, if you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room, what would you choose and why?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's
okay. So what? Well, were you when you were talking about you might want to work? You had an artist you said in the speech that you that kind of inspired you. Maybe that's not to reflect you, but you wanted to work it into the speech. What were you thinking of at the time?
Well, I love Mitski. I was able to see her a few months back, but her music is very, very sad, and I do love sad music. But every time I walked into the room, a very sad song played. I think people would get very sad around me. So it'd have to be something uplifting.
Okay. Well, we can always come back to that. But where'd you see Mitski at?
I saw her at the Fillmore in Philly.
Oh, I love that venue.
It was gorgeous.
Love that venue. It's one of my favorites. Have you been to the Met yet?
Actually, wait, no. I saw her at the Met.
Okay. So it's even better venue. I mean,
it was gorgeous there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it has like that old, like the Philadelphia. It's the old Philadelphia Opera House. They rebuilt it and renovated it into a modern time. Yes. So it's crazy good there. Like I said, I could talk music with you all day, every day. But peek inside you a little bit more, because sometimes, these professional interviews, they don't like to ask you about your resume and your background or Camp 2030 or if you know Mandarin, right? But they want to know some off the wall stuff that you can kind of separate you from the other candidates. What do you think about when you're alone in your car?
Well, I can't drive because I'm terrified of cars. But
when you're in a car or a bus or whatever.
I do love playing music. I just like sit with my thoughts and like stare at the window.
That sad Mitski music?
Maybe. No. I don't know. I think about the weather, which is very, very boring, but I like to look around. I love poetry as well, so I like to look around me, and I like to look at all of the things around me. And maybe that's how right now it's springtime and there's like all these gorgeous blooming trees out, and I get to appreciate that. I get to look at the world around me and like think like, wow, there's flowers on the ground. That's gorgeous. There's like some people over there talking. They look so happy, like just appreciating the world around me, and definitely like being a spectator and taking that moment to step back and like just like process everything.
Just appreciate life.
Yeah. I think definitely having the ability to appreciate where I'm at is like such a valuable thing.
It's a good perspective to have.
Yeah.
And I wish we had a little bit longer spring, because it seems like we go from winter to summer and then a little bit of spring.
It's like crazy, but the weather's been insane.
Yeah, it's gorgeous right now. It's going to be gorgeous for commencement. But I have a crazy canna lily addiction lately. It's been kind of, which my wife hates because how tall they get and stuff. So I'm kind of thinning them out and trying to do this whole backdrop on my fence. I'm trying to build this whole tropical vibe in the backyard. Wow. It's a little escape, because the same thing. I like just kind of sit out there on the back deck, have a cup of coffee. Now I got my daughter, and I'm trying to eventually get her to like, understanding bulbs, which she doesn't. She just throws dirt everywhere and puts rocks in her mouth. But we'll get there. But yes, a nice finer appreciation for it, because it's like, I don't know, it's something about, like you said, watching it grow, but just kind of like the work that you kind of putting into it and sowing the seeds a little bit, right? And just kind of seeing the fruits of your labor and all these other cliches that you have going on. But all right. So another very important question. What would your slogan be if you were a brand?
What my slogan? Okay.
Heavy thoughts on the program pod.
That's just a serious question.
with Jay and Aislynn.
I think it is what it is.
It is just what it is.
A bit basic as well. But I think sometimes people can get very upset about things. People can like end up in a situation where they feel really like negative about a situation. Like you kind of just got to let it go, You got to let it just like radical acceptance. Just like it is what it is. Like
it is what it is. It's a nice, easy phrase. I like that. It's a good brand. All right. The most important question before we wrap things up here. How would you rate me as an interviewer?
Well, I've never been interviewed before, but I'd say 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. All right. Moving up in the world. I like
it.
Right. Thank you. All right. So is there anything, you want to say to your fellow classmates? I know you kind of had a little bit in your speech, which I'm going to pull a little bit of your speech too from the YouTube, because we are going to be streaming it live. It will be on YouTube, and you can go back and watch it over and over and over, share with whoever. But for the audio podcast, I do like to take a little bit of a clip and say like, hey, listeners, check out what she got to say. But any advice, any last other things you want to say to your fellow 2024 spring graduates?
I mean, it's just been incredible to take this journey with you all. Yep. I've been able to meet so many incredible people at RCBC. I can never stop saying that, because I would not be myself without the people around me, and having the opportunity to meet everyone, to go to classes with everyone, to engage with everyone. It has been just an honor to be here. So Yeah.
It's an honor finally actually get to meet you as well personally and talk to you. So again, seeing you all on campus, your one definitely stands out. And congrats again for being a President's Award winner and getting ready to speak in front of the liberal arts students. You're gonna crush it. I know it is. You're gonna do great things when you get out of here and stuff. And we'll still be here. You can come explore the campus and you can see all the other flowers and stuff growing up and they're gonna be building on. But Aislynn, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Anybody want to shout out before I say goodbye or anything?
Thank you, Harlow, my sister.
There we go.
And to all my friends as well. Thank you guys.
All right.
And my parents as well.
Okay. There it is.
And Erica Franken, thank you.
She's awesome.
I've worked with her for my entire career as a student worker. She's just like absolutely incredible person.
Yeah, she's great to learn from, and she's one of the exceptional people here at RCBC. A lot of exceptional people, but which I think this community is great because you can see how much she cares about people like yourself and the students, and that's what it's all about. It's all about seeing their success, grow from when you get here to this commencement and beyond, right? And looking back, and it's just kind of like it's like almost a proud parent type moment, right? So, Erica's a great person, so I'm glad you brought her up. But again, thanks for coming on the show, and I look forward to seeing you do it live. All right?
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Take care.
Take care.
And there she goes, Aislynn Fait, who indeed went on to crush it during her speech at the liberal arts commencement, which we're about to hear a few pieces of audio from next. But it was a wild week leading up to graduation as the weather wasn't really cooperating, pushing back the ceremony a day from Wednesday to Thursday. But eventually, everything all started to line up perfectly for the RCBC graduates who were ready to get the party started. So let's check out a few moments from liberal arts ceremony, which includes a crowd introduction from President Cioce, who also shares the news about a new name for the Liberal Arts Division, a clip from Aislynn's President's Award speech to her classmates, and a powerful and inspirational message from special keynote speaker tied to the Philadelphia Phillies, Gregg Murphy. Let's check it out.
Good morning. My name is Mike Cioce, and I have the distinct pleasure of being the president here at Rowan College of Burlington County, and I would like to welcome everyone in the crowd to RCBC's spring graduation ceremony. I'm so glad that you could join us to celebrate the success of these good-looking students. Our campus never looks better than this time of year when it's filled with our inspirational graduates, their proud and supportive friends and families, and those of us who are privileged to work with all of them. This morning's ceremony celebrates students in majors from the Liberal Arts Division, which this summer will be undergoing a name change to the Humanities, Business, and Social Sciences Division. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to thank my mother. She has given me so much, starting with both my life and my name. So I would like to acknowledge all the other Michaels in the audience today. Are there any Mikes in the audience? If there are, please stand with me for a moment of recognition. None? What are you all, Logans and Declans and... Anyway. All right, well that was our mic check. So all the mics can now be seated with the non-mics. If you know the amount of dad jokes that are on the cutting room floor that involve the word Riz, slay, my 10-year-old told me I was too old to use those words and then responded with, what the Sigma? But the mic joke serves as a message to our graduates as they prepare for their new career or their next university. Next up, we're going to hear from one very impressive Baron. As a homeschooled student, Aislynn Fait had never attended school before joining the RCBC community. She dove into every opportunity she could to learn as much as possible and emerged from those waters determined to give back to fellow Barons. Aislynn finished with a 3.8 GPA while exploring topics such as Chinese and astronomy. She has served this community in the food pantry. She's traveled to New York with a delegation of young leaders to collaborate on solutions to global problems. It's no surprise that Aislynn's team won that global competition. After you hear her story, I'm sure that you're going to agree it will not be the last time that she'll be standing on a grand stage as a winner. Please welcome 2024 Liberal Arts President's Award winner, Aislynn Fait.
Hello, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed faculty, those who have come to support, and of course, my fellow graduates of 2024. It is an honor to be here today to have shared this incredible journey with you all. I'd like to start congratulating the class of 2024. We have all overcome considerable obstacles to reach our goals and be here. Today is a day of celebration, reflection, and gratitude. As we gather here to mark the culmination of our academic journeys at RCBC, I am deeply honored to share my story with you. My experience with education is very unique. I was homeschooled my entire life until college, but unfortunately, I did not have access to the resources I needed, nor was I a part of any homeschooling programs. I had a very isolated childhood, with my sister being the only consistent interaction I had with other children my age. This deeply affected my ability to learn and develop social skills, because my family was unable to provide the support I needed due to the financial struggles and health problems. I struggled with my own mental health and entered a time in my life where I became so depressed that I struggled to feel emotions at age 11. For the next 6 years, I would endure a very difficult period in my life where I felt powerless and incapable of achieving my goals. I began to idolize college as time when my life would really begin, when I'd be able to start working, make friends, and receive an education. I remember telling myself that I just needed to make it to college, viewing college as the light at the end of the tunnel. Growing up, I was told I'd begin college at age 16, and as I got closer to this age, I felt like college was becoming closer, and that light was becoming brighter, and suddenly when I became 16, COVID happened, everything shut down, and the hope I had faded away, and I was again sent into a dark place in my life. Despite how I struggled during that time, I pushed through the darkness of that tunnel, hoping the light at the end would be worth it. Then, in 2021, at 17 years old, I began at RCBC. I had never been inside a classroom before and hadn't interacted with many people my age. Graduates, the fact that you are here today is proof that you have overcome difficult obstacles. Maybe you have already made it through that tunnel. Maybe graduation is the light for you, or maybe your light is still yet to come, but in some way, you've endured. It is by taking the opportunities available to us where we give our chances to grow. Every chance you have to try something new is a chance to become a better person. I encourage you to seize every opportunity that comes your way, because every opportunity you take to appreciate what you have or might become your reason to continue through that tunnel. And when you can, try to take a moment to share that light with others. Give back to the people who have supported you and do your best to lift others up every chance you get. Say hi to the people you sit next to. Hold the door for someone. Give a stranger a compliment. We improve ourselves by uplifting those around us. I'd like to extend my gratitude to everyone who has supported us through this journey at RCBC, and to the incredible staff and faculty that work tirelessly to improve the lives of students here. Thank you for all that you do. And graduates, as you journey ahead with life, know this: you have struggled, you have endured, and you have come out on top as an accomplished individual. I know that because you have made it here today. No matter how hard it can be, or how long you endure, you will find that light at the end of the tunnel. Class of 2024, we made it! Congratulations, and thank you.
Awesome. I think one of the biggest bummers of Aislynn graduating is that I'm not going to see her in the SSC because she was a fixture. I thought she moved in because she was there. And then, so when people will say, oh, it's too loud in the SSC, I'm like, it's a student building. They're allowed to make as much noise as they want. So nice job, Aislynn. Really hit that one out of the park. And speaking of hitting one out of the park, our next speaker knows how to call it when someone really hits one out of the park. Phillies broadcaster Gregg Murphy. As a broadcaster and an on-field reporter, Gregg Murphy has been in our homes through television and radio, bringing us closer to the action of the Fightin' Phillies, some huge sporting events such as the NCAA tournament, the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, and the World Series. Maybe again this year? Murph, as viewers know him, and people were screaming his name out as we were walking up, grew up in Mount Laurel and graduated from Holy Cross High School before attending St. Joe's University. Personally, as a Phillies fan, I've always felt like Gregg was a neighbor before I found out he literally was a neighbor, having grown up here. Off the field, he earned the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Visionary of the Year Award in 2023, given to individuals leading in the fight against blood cancer, a fight that Murph himself courageously survived. So besides calling names for the best baseball team on the planet, he's part of our community and has demonstrated the grit and generosity of a Baron, which is why I'm honored to invite Gregg to share his story with Class of 2024 as today's keynote speaker.
Well, good morning, and congratulations, RCBC graduates. You're looking good. Despite the rain yesterday, it looks like we still almost have a sellout, which is what we like in the world of baseball. Before I start my comments, let me just say, Aislynn, wow, what a great representation for this class of 2024. How about another round of applause for Aislynn? Congrats. Let me start by saying thank you to President Cioce, the Board of Trustees, the faculty and staff, and the RCBC graduates and your families who are here today. Thank you so much for inviting me here on campus. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today and an honor to be standing in front of you. As President Cioce just mentioned, I literally grew up about 1.5 miles from this campus. It was a wonderful time in my life. I grew up with a father who was a school teacher, a mother who was a legal secretary. We didn't have a whole lot, but they both worked tirelessly to make sure my brother, sister, and I had everything that we could need or want. For my part, through elementary school and high school, I did just what I needed to get by. I love sports, obviously. I love socializing with my friends. I was smart, but I certainly wasn't the smartest. I was athletic, but I certainly wasn't the most athletic. But hard work, diligent in my studies, working up to my potential, not really my thing. It wasn't until I got to college that I realized if I wanted to be successful, if I wanted to think about a future beyond just tomorrow, I needed to figure out what my dreams for my future were. And I needed to change the way I was doing things. Luckily for me, the beginning of that change happened in my first semester in college. I had entered St. Joseph's University with the idea that I was going to go to law school afterwards and be an attorney. I kind of pictured myself as one of those TV attorneys that was pacing back and forth in front of the jury box, making a point and then whipping around and catching the witness in a lie and turning the trial upside down on its head. I watched a lot of TV back then. But one night, my freshman year, a good friend of mine asked if I would go with him to a meeting on campus for a brand new radio station that was starting at St. Joe's. He fancied himself a music DJ. I didn't really have any interest in going, but I didn't have anything better to do either, so I decided to tag along. When we got to the room, there was about 40 or 50 people there, and the speaker at the front of the room was talking about different opportunities. And he asked the room, is anyone interested in being the play-by-play guy for the men's and women's basketball team here at St. Joe's? I looked around, and most of the folks were like my buddy, very much into music, not so much into sports, and nobody raised their hand. So I thought to myself, well, that sounds kind of cool. So I did raise my hand. And before I knew it, I was sitting in Philadelphia's famed Palestra calling my first college basketball game, St. Joe's versus Drexel. And it was that moment that I discovered that was the dream I was meant to follow. By raising my hand on impulse, by taking a chance, I arrived at the moment when I realized broadcasting was the career path that I wanted to choose. I tell you that story because I want you to understand that you never know when a new dream will start. You never know when a new door will open. That's the way life works, so you have to be ready. You have to be open to the idea that your life today will be different than your life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now. You have to believe and understand that the associate's degree that you will be awarded today is a key to new or enriched dreams. You have to be willing to listen to the universe and know when a new opportunity is presenting itself to you, and then you have to be brave enough to embrace that new opportunity and see where it takes you. So I challenge you, as you move on in your life with your new degree in hand, put yourself on a path to figure out what excites you, what gets your heart beating, what puts those butterflies in your stomach. Dr. Sue Varma, the author of a book called Practical Optimism, said this: trust that when you find that special surge of energy, that glow of soul satisfaction, you'll know it. There's no other feeling like it. Dr. Varma encourages all of us to tune into what our minds and hearts are telling us, and when you feel it and when you find it, don't be afraid of it. Some of you may have already found it. Some of you might still be looking, and that's okay. I found mine in that musty meeting room at the Campion Student Center back in October of 1989, and I didn't even know I was looking. Today, each one of you has taken that first step towards that special surge of energy, that step being education. The education you have received here at RCBC will inevitably open doors and clear paths to places and opportunities that you may never have dreamed of. Now it's up to you to take that step forward. Get out of your comfort zone and accept the challenges that only education can present. For 30 years, I've made a living covering sports, watching the most gifted athletes on the planet do their thing. For the last 12 years, baseball has been the center of my professional life. And I think baseball is a perfect metaphor for what we have here today and what is ahead for you, the graduates of 2024. Baseball is hard. Baseball is a game of failure. Nobody in the game of baseball succeeds 100% of the time. In fact, nobody succeeds 50% of the time. A baseball player who gets a hit 3 out of every 10 times is considered an all-star. Anything more than that, and you are a bona fide Hall of Famer. In other words, even the good players fail 70% of the time. Welcome to the real world, because it'll be no different for most of us. But it's those people and those players that learn with each failure that are ultimately the ones that we remember. So don't be afraid of failure. Embrace failure. And learn from the things that keep you from success today so that tomorrow you can succeed. No matter what your step is, your education does not end today. It shifts, it changes, but it never ends. In baseball, it's 3 strikes and you're out. But in life, that's not the case. If it were, most of us up here on stage would be down and out a long time ago. No, life will throw you your share of curveballs, that's for sure. And you will swing and miss. But the beauty of life in baseball is there's always another inning to play, always another game tomorrow, and always another goal to achieve. So to that end, go out, experience, live, learn more, and succeed. And remember that we are all just blessed to be in the game and having a chance to play ball. I wish all of you all the success that this world has to offer. Congratulations, class of 2024. And go Phils.
Before we conclude, join me in applauding the faculty and staff who have worked tirelessly to prepare the next generation of leaders. All of the family and friends in the audience who have supported our graduates every step of their long journey. If you have an air horn, now's the time to drain it. And right? And of course, one final round of applause for the graduates. Congratulations on your accomplishments. Guests, please remain standing while our platform guests exit and lead the faculty, staff, and graduates out of the quad. Congratulations, class of 2024.
Wow. I mean, who else got chills up and down their spines or maybe throughout their body or whatever? I know I did, and it was pretty awesome to have Gregg Murphy of the Philadelphia Phillies right there doing a speech for the liberal arts crowd there, but also pretty timely since the Phillies are the best team in baseball, at least at the time of this recording, and hopefully they're going to keep it up all summer long and maybe bring back another World Series to Philadelphia. But anyway, that's going to do it for part 1 of our 3-part Spring 2024 RCBC commencement coverage here on the Program Pod. Coming up in part 2, we'll hear from President's Award winner Taiwo Adekunle and the other special guest keynote speaker, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy. For now, if you want to watch the full speeches and full liberal arts commencement presentation, it's available at RCBC's YouTube page, and be sure to check out our Facebook and Instagram channels for pictures of the ceremony, because who knows, maybe you're in one of those pictures. Also, if you want to know more about the liberal arts programs, soon to be called Humanities, Business, and Social Sciences Division offered at RCBC, check out rcbc.edu. Or, of course, subscribe to this podcast right here, the Program Pod, wherever you get your podcasts, for deeper dives into these types of programs through the perspectives of students, faculty, and employers. This is Jay Vargas signing off, and congrats once again to the class of 2024. Go Phils!